is my neighborhood. I live in a beautiful place. Even in the winter, I've learned to appreciate the beauty of this place. This juncture right here, it's become my favorite spot. My favorite spot in the area where I live. There's something about it. It's just a little intersection of paths here in the forest. And today I was passing by it and I realized I'd never been down this way before. But it's such a pretty view. That's a Korean tomb. So I thought I'd get off the bike, and I think this is my first time down this way. I just realized today, biking through that little three-way intersection, I turned around to look this way. That's the way I go to the King Kong store on my bike. I go through the forest. And I just don't know that I ever looked over my shoulder as I went through that little intersection, and I saw that view just captured me. And the sun was a little higher in the sky at that moment, and I really wanted to come down here. But I was on my way to the King Kong store. So, I thought I would do it on the way back, and it's not as well, I suppose it's inviting in just a different way. So I know where this is now. Just a different path down to a familiar clearing where there are farms and not big farms, little rice paddies, private houses, just how lucky am I? It occurs to me that maybe one of the worst sins, if you believe in that sort of thing, if you don't believe in the reality of sin, which if you look at the etymology and the literal meaning, it just means missing the mark. You don't even have to be particularly religious to believe in a concept of sin and a reality of sin. But one of the worst sins is failing to appreciate what you have. And I've been here, well, about a year and 2 months now. So I was here last summer. I was always like, yeah, there's that forest over there. Well, that was what? Spring of 2024. And I broke my finger and had to have surgery and had to quit drinking. And I guess all last summer I I was too morose and I don't know, was struggling with my own self to get out here. And I mean, I went through here, but I never saw it. I went through it without seeing it. I passed through it without experiencing it. Look at that. I mean, just look at it. Listen to it. The frogs, I love the sound of frogs. I wish I lived near a frog pond. I could listen to them all night. I could. They don't bother me in the least. I can sleep no problem near a frog pond. And it's here. It's always been here. How long has it been here? Like this. Did it look like this 500 years ago? 1,000 years ago? I don't mean with the houses. I mean the land. The trees. The shape of the land. Was it the same basic shape 1,000 years ago? 2,000 years ago? 5,000 years ago? The rice paddies wouldn't have been there, but did like hunter-gatherer people or, you know, whoever was around at that time, did they stand in this spot and look at this same basic view? Okay, maybe it was an ice age. I don't know, but you get the sentiment, right? Well, she's got her rose bushes going. Nice. Nice. Just a lush green. It's just like, technically not summer yet, but you know, it's basically early summer. Here in Korea, it's like, you ask the kids, what's the first day of summer? And they're all going to say June 1st. What's the first day of fall? September 1st. Of course. You try to teach them, well, actually, there's these things called the solstices and the equinoxes. And, oh, that's interesting. But, you know, the first day of fall is September 1st. First day of winter is December 1st. And first day of spring is March 1st. Because that's the way it is. There's the sun. It really is, man. Beautiful. We get beautiful, beautiful sunsets up here in Paju. Look at that. You can stare at it. Do your sun gazing. Look at that. It's incredible. Zoom out. And wow, it's like I live here. I'm blessed enough that I live here. I live in this place. I've seen places on this planet that it's, man, I mean, and I haven't even seen remotely even the worst places to be. I used to wish that, oh, you know, Korea used to be a lot more hard-nosed and cantankerous and obstinate and difficult than it is now. The people were a lot crankier. The country itself, you know, countries have personalities. Korea is a lot more genteel and refined than it used to be, at least on the surface. And I don't know, I used to wonder, why the hell did I settle here? Why didn't I, if I was going to settle in an Asian country, why didn't I at least, why didn't I go to Thailand where they have nice beaches and I can smoke weed? You really, really gotta know people who know people to get away with that here. Even to know where to get it. You gotta know a grower. And even then, you know, you're tempting fate if you do that. It's a dumb thing to do. Anyway, I used to wonder, like, why did I end up here? And so I've told this story before, you know, those close to me have heard this story before, but I'll go ahead and put this story here. So in my wilder days, when I was recording a music album in the hall of a Buddhist temple where I was basically squatting, and not living my best life, to be honest. I was living an adventurous life. I was making music, and I made an album, and I released it, and I went on TV, and it was an adventure. I mean, I wouldn't go back and change anything, I guess. I mean, maybe I'd change some things. Anyway, I don't regret it. But it was somewhere around that time I was taken by a friend who was an older monk to visit a monk who's even older at a big famous temple whose name escapes me now. It was somewhere in the southern part of the peninsula in a very pretty area. I think it was down in Chalado. And this was a very senior monk. A little doghouse there, no dog in it. And I was told this is a Zen master. In Korea they don't say Zen, they say Sun, but it's the same Chinese character and it's the same idea. These are all pepper plants, by the way. See? Little peppers. Just line the rice paddy with pepper plants. Seems like a smart thing to do. I'm not sure why. Seems like a good use of a perimeter, I would think. Yeah, so. And I was scraggly with long hair and I just looked like a ne'er-do-well, and I was a ne'er-do-well. But the monk who took me there was kind, and he considered himself he aspired to be a great bodhisattva, and I suppose he was practicing his bodhisattva-ing on me. God bless him. And he took me to this temple, and we had an audience with the old Zen master who lived in an empty room. In that room, and it was quite a big room. There were just walls and a ceiling and a floor. Isn't it pretty? Walls, ceiling, floor, and a tea table, which was made from a twisted log that had been hewn lengthwise into a plank and polished. Very beautiful tea table with a tea kettle and teacups and all the accoutrements. I'll walk up this way. And I just immediately felt uneasy walking in there. I felt that I almost felt like I was defiling the place. I was wearing like kind of temple garb, but for lay people. I was wearing the garb of a guy who was squatting in a temple, and we went and we sat down in front of the master. That was it. That's all he had in the room was a tea table. Oh, and there was a pegboard on the wall on which he hung his robes, and the monks carry this sort of purse made of cloth, the monk purse. And we sat down across the tea table from the old master, and they talked amongst themselves, and I just kind of sat there and looked at the floor. And I started to feel afraid. And I couldn't have said why I felt afraid. Uneasiness began to morph into a feeling of, fear. And it took me a few minutes to realize that it was... When I looked at the old monk's eyes, I felt like I did not want to look into those eyes. I did not want those eyes looking into mine, because I just had this feeling, this intimation that that monk could look straight into my mind, into my soul. And he would know things about me that I didn't want anyone knowing. So I stared at the floor. Now with us was the monk's brother, who had lived a number of years in Germany as a student, and he spoke German and he spoke good English as well as Korean. And I sat between the monk and his brother in the middle, which also felt odd to me. I felt that my monk friend should have been sitting in the middle, but okay, so his brother was to my left, and his brother leaned over and he said, it is your turn to ask the master a question. And I said, no. And he said, Koreans will do this sometimes. I think you should. Or they'll say, I think you had better ask the monk a question. They say that what they really mean is that they just want to make a... They want to tell you what they think you should do. But because they use the had better, I think you had better, it kind of comes off with a sort of menacing tone that they don't mean. I think you had better ask him a question. I said, look, I really, I just don't want to. Okay. And he spoke to his brother, the monk, in hushed tones, and then the monk's brother leaned over to me again, and he said, it is expected of you that you are to ask the master a question. He gave me to understand that I would be, it would be rude and unseemly, and I would be violating some kind of protocol. I was there to ask the master a question. And so I realized the predicament that I was in. And I froze. And monk's brother's like, okay, so he said, you could just ask any question. But I felt like, no, I couldn't just ask any question. And I said, I don't know. And at that point, the Zen master cleared his throat. It was a gentle clearing of the throat, but it had the effect of a gunshot ringing out. It didn't echo and ricochet around the room, but it had that effect. And there was silence. There wasn't even a clock in the room. The tick. It was just silent. And the silence went on and on and on. And I sat there with my eyes glued to the floor between my toes, my feet, and I just wanted to disappear. I wanted the proverbial earth to open up and swallow me. And so eventually the old master spoke up and he started speaking. Very, very soft voice. Very calm, very even, measured. No emotion. Just very matter of fact. And I remember feeling, relieved that he'd decided to break the silence and he was talking. I thought maybe the way he talked, the way he was talking, I thought maybe the old master had just decided to let it go. I think that's exactly what I thought. Okay, so they're talking again amongst themselves and they're just talking about whatever. But then he stopped talking and the monk and his brother didn't say anything. And again, there was silence. And then that dread came back and just redoubled and and I just sat there. Finally, the monk's brother leans over and he says very softly in my ear, and he couldn't just come out and say it. He had to preface it. I will now translate for you what the Zen master has said. And I just wanted to scream. Like, well, okay, thanks for telling me what you're about to tell me. But, I just sat there frozen. And he said, and I'm not even paraphrasing, I've memorized this. I memorized it on the spot. I've never forgotten it. These tombs are in a state of neglect. I wonder why. Maybe their descendants have all passed on, or maybe they've gone to live far away in another part of the country, or perhaps even other parts of the world. Perhaps they just don't. Maybe they've fallen victim to modernism. They just can't be bothered anymore. Yeah, so now I'm doing the same thing to you that the monk's brother did to me. All right. So he said, this is what the master says. I said, okay. He said, lifetime after lifetime, you keep running away from this country and coming back. Running away and coming back. And lifetime after lifetime, you will continue this cycle. Running away and coming back, running away and coming back. Until you have learned to appreciate the taste of earth. Hey, that's not bad. Got a new phone. Had to get a new phone the other week because the telecom company, yeah, well, they weren't taking care of their customers' data. Slightly better camera. You can actually see the moon a little bit. Won't focus on it at 10x, but anyway. That's what the Zen master said. And it just I'm not going to tell you that I just said, oh, I just sneered inside, whatever, old man. I'm not going to over dramatize it either and say that it just devastated me and cut me into a million pieces. No. It actually had a very calming effect on me. Very calming effect. It calmed me. And at that moment, I raised my eyes and I looked in the old man's eyes, and they were neither kind nor were they unkind. They were appraising, calm, aware, appraising. This man was nobody's fool. He was not a starry-eyed mystic. He was a man of knowledge and power. There was no judgment. It was just, there it is, kid. He spoke the truth, is what the old Zen master did. He spoke the truth. He told me the truth. And how rare is that? How precious is that? Somebody who has a bit of truth. And even if it hurts, they tell you, they respect you enough and they love you enough to tell you the truth as they see it. He told me the truth. And I knew it. I knew it was the truth. And after all these years, I think that I'm finally learning to appreciate the taste of earth. As a matter of fact, I think I could go even a little bit further and say that I appreciate the taste of earth. And I thank God that He put me here. Hasn't always been easy. I haven't always been easy. There were times when I just wanted nothing more than just pack my bags, scrape together enough money to get on an airplane, and get the fuck out of here. There's been times I just wanted nothing more. I wanted to get out so bad and just go to someplace easy. Thinking that there's someplace easy. Still thinking that there's someplace easy. Can you imagine that? Last night I was talking about my hamster, you know. This is the subtext. This is the backstory, you see? And that video last night, that got like quite a number of views and likes. I guess people like listening to me talk about something other than music production. Yeah, you know, there's a connection. You know? That'd make a good thumbnail for this video. Anyway. Here I am. All I can say is, if you don't believe in God yet, I'm not going to make any pronouncements about you. Like, it's annoying. If you don't believe in God yet, well, then you must be like this or you must be like that. I'm not saying anything like that. I'll just leave it at that. If you don't believe in God yet, and I'm not going to specify what God is, I don't have any ideas about God, because God's beyond ideas and before ideas, and I have a very Taoistic side. I am a Taoist as much as I am a Christian or anything else. See that bird? Might not see him till he takes off. As close as I can get. If you haven't felt the power and the presence and the uncanny, just the uncanny, there he goes. I wasn't focused on him. If you haven't experienced that yet, then how about this? After the if clause, I'll say this for a then clause. Then I sincerely wish for you that someday you get to experience it. And it becomes as real to you as this path under my feet. I am no respecter of people anymore. And no longer do I crave the things of man. I don't. I really don't, man. I want nothing to do with any of it. I once turned down a major label recording contract with UMG. That was when I was a younger man and I did crave that kind of stuff, but I smelled sulfur in the room. But now it's such a burden off me that I don't crave that. I don't crave the social interaction. I have no, what is it called? FOMO. I have no FOMO. I have zero FOMO factor. Fear of missing out, zero. I can say it's effectively down to zero. As a matter of fact, it might even be in the negatives. Like I I have a fear of not missing out on some things, especially some that I see coming down the pike. I want to miss the fuck out. Okay? But the things of God, take the word God and just make of it what you will. I'm not here to tell you anything. But I'll tell you this. If there wasn't something looking out over me that loved me despite all of my bullshit, there's a lot of it, I wouldn't be here making this video. I wouldn't be alive. I wouldn't be vertical. I'd either be dead or I'd be locked in a cage somewhere. And that's the truth. Is that a temple up there? That's a temple up there. Wait a minute. Am I pointed at it? Where? There. I think I've been there before. God is a... Yeah, I don't know, man. If you haven't got that, then I feel bad for you, man. I really do. And it takes for some of us, it requires putting down certain types of conditioning and intellectual pride. Fear of being wrong. Dogmas. Rational materialist dogmas. Everything must have a logical explanation. No. What a poor way to view the world. What a poor way to interpret existence. There's so much poverty in that. So much poverty in that. You're missing 98% more. The abbot of the temple where I lived, he was a Ivy League physicist by education and training. He had gotten a PhD from, I think, UPenn in cosmology. And then he had some kind of awakening while riding a subway in maybe Philadelphia or some major American city, and he decided to give all of that up and go back to Korea and put on the robe. That's what he did. And but the man was smart, and he knew physics. And he once told me these physicists with all their theories, and he said they've got maybe 5% of it figured out, and he said I'm being generous. It's probably less than 3% that they have really figured out. Basically, they don't really know anything. I was telling my friend Brian about how this appears in music production, at least for me, just full of mysteries. Some of which I never get to the bottom of. Just accept them. They're gifts. Many times I got bugs swarming around my head. Gnats, what are they? I didn't mean to talk about all of this. I was just, you might even say, somewhat intoxicated by the beauty around me, and I just felt like taking out my camera and documenting it. Just marveling to a point of, like, intoxication. and gratitude that this is where I live. This is where I've ended up, for the time being at least. I had a funny quip come to my mind. So today my wife's out visiting, like hanging out with old school chums, and it's a holiday, so I had no work. And I just, 안녕하세요. So I got to just hang out and talk to my dad. I talked to my dad online app and did a live stream and had, friends come by and chat and comment, and it was great. And then I talked to Brian. We had a good conversation, got to know each other a little bit better, and then I was like getting ready to come out and go for a bike ride. I wanted to just go, I'm going to go to the forest, drop by King Kong, see if they got a guitar or a microphone. Of course they didn't, but I was letting the phone charge, and the thought, the thought hit me and filled me up. Just like, wow, what a great day! What a great day this has been. Awesome! This is such an awesome day. The weather is perfect. It's been filled with friends and good conversations and laughter, and and then immediately, it wasn't even my thought. Okay, this is God talking. And I'm not saying it in that way, okay? Like, God told me, no. But this is, when I say God talks, this is God talking, because this is a little rim shot, a little, what is that, a punchline? Just a little thing that just didn't come from me. It didn't come from my mind. I'm just thinking about, God, what a great day this has been. And then the thought came, just like a joke from someone in the room, and the line was, "Yeah, well, there's always tomorrow." There's always tomorrow, right? Oh, it was so grim, but so funny at the same time. But wry and gentle. It didn't felt like it came from me. There's another tomb area up there. And I just laughed and laughed and laughed, and I didn't feel alone. Even though I was alone. Even though I am alone. You guys I know on the internet, I'm grateful to have you. But the truth is, we don't have anybody. Not really. Not really. Maybe sometimes we do, but we can't expect it. We're alone. Even the closest family members. There's always a line. There's always a limit. You're always ultimately alone. And that's the way you come, and that's the way you go. I don't care if it's a cliche. It's true. So, but it's in a moment like that where I know I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone in this world. It's a companionship that cannot possibly come from any other mortal human being. And it's not my imagination. You may say it is, and I don't care. And it may be, I don't care, but I say it's not, and it isn't. It is. That's God. That's God funning me. And you know what? Maybe when I'm on my deathbed and I'm struggling to get that last inch of air into my lungs, and as my soul is leaving my body, maybe God will still be funning me in that moment. You never know. Wouldn't put it past him. Here's that temple that I saw from across the way. Even if it's not factually correct, so what? It's psychologically correct and valid and useful. I'm a mystic, but I'm a pragmatist also. I am a poet, but I'm also a logician. I'm a Libra, dead square center. Not that I believe, not that I subscribe to that shit, but there's something to it, I think. Sometimes. It is uncanny. October 10th, I think that's like Libra is the scales, you know? And that's like the dead center of the scales, October 10th. So, right? Before I go, I need to start bicycling because the mountain mosquitoes are starting to come out, and they're vicious. I'm going to go up this way to go home. They're vicious. You got to be moving. Got to have some wind on you, or they land. To hear the voice of God, you better know how to listen. A lot of people spend too much time talking. And that includes thinking, cogitating. Not enough time listening. How do you listen? Well, meditation is one good way to listen. You hear a lot of Christians slagging on meditation. Like, oh, you're opening the portal to Satan's going to come in. You empty the mind and give yourself a few minutes of peace and, well, you're just grand opening for Satan to come in and take over. What a bunch of nonsense. Ridiculous. It's one reason that I've spent so much of my life distancing myself from Christianity and Christians. It's because of nonsense like that. Just nonsense. Just yokel nonsense. Oh, if you practice yoga, you're opening up your body to Satan. No, you're not. Grow up. Those pots are called hangari. And given that this is behind the mess hall of a temple, they're full of gochujang and doenjang, most likely. Fermented red pepper paste and fermented soybean paste. Hangari. Yeah, so what is meditation? Meditation can be many things. There are many ways to meditate. The senior monk, the abbot, the cosmologist, he called it watching the weather. And that's the way he taught me, watching the weather. Everything that happens in your mind is just weather. And you're observing the weather at the top of a little hill, watching it come and go. Not involved. There's nothing you can do you can't reach up and grab the clouds and move them around. You can't stop the lightning or the thunder. You don't try to. You don't get involved. You just observe. Observe. Be passive. Receptive. Listen. Watch. Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. Your life depends on it. Pay attention. And then the capacity for listening develops. And over time, it comes as naturally as I stop and my ears are open and I hear the twittering of birds and the distant hum of the highway. It becomes natural like that. And if I get lost in anger or anxiety, I know damn well I'm lost in anger or anxiety. And one of the greatest statements that old monk, he wasn't old actually, the cosmologist, let's call him the cosmologist, ever said to me, and he said, consider these two statements. I am angry. That's statement number one. What's the grammar? Oh. Subject. Conjunctive verb, is that right? Am. Adjective, angry. He says, yes, now consider the second statement. There is anger. And it hit me. He'd been trying to convey to me, but when he put it that way, I understood completely. There is anger. There's a world of difference. A world of difference between those two statements. But I'm not going to explicate it for you. If it doesn't hit you right between the eyes and make the light bulbs go on, then think about it. Meditate on it. Just look at it. You don't even have to think about it. Just look at it. It's not complicated. It used to be a lot harder for people to see these things. It's gotten a lot easier in this day and age. It's not mysterious the way that it used to be. The cosmologists used to say anybody with half a brain should be able to figure out after 10 minutes on the internet. He was a pragmatist to the extreme. Don't judge. Don't judge people. Jesus said, judge not lest you be judged. Siddhartha Gautama Shakyamuni Buddha said the same things. He said the same things. Yeah, well, he wasn't God. Okay, granted, he wasn't God. He never claimed to be. Your point? Well, he didn't die and come back to life on the third day. Yeah, he never claimed to. Nobody ever claimed that he did. He still taught the same lessons. What's your point? Yo, if you listen to Buddha, you're going to hell. Okay. That's a judgment, isn't it? You're playing God, aren't you? You can't say that to people like that. I've been doing a series on a Pride Month special. And some people would take my my song and my video and they would just immediately come to the conclusion that I must hate gay people. I don't. You know who I hate? And this is a problem because I don't want to hate anybody, really. There's no wisdom in hatred. And true understanding dispels hatred. Comprehensive, true understanding dispels hatred. But yeah, there are those that I hate. But that's the subject of my song, Dylan Allen Co., which I'm going to go back and finish after I finish praying for the meteorite. Got a rock in my treads. There we go. What else? Well, here's a big one. And after I say this, I really am going to get off because I'm out of the forest now, and I'm almost back to civilization. So the Buddha also said, don't compare. Great evil in comparing. Now, you can argue that it's neat, like thinking, thinking, cognitive activity, cogitation is needed. Otherwise, how would we have greenhouses and fences and roads and sewers and all that shit, right? Okay, granted, but you gotta stop being so literal all the time. I hear all the objections. Stop being so literal and become essential. What is the essence of what is being conveyed? The habit of, okay, thou shalt not covet. Where does coveting come from? It has its root in comparison. Those dogs are not distressed. They're just excited. They're just excited little yappy dogs over there. They're tethered up, though. Poor dogs. Okay. So, but it all really boils down to fear and theft. Fear and theft. Fear and theft. And then even theft eventually boils down to fear. 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 I used to think it was just a cliche, but it's true. Fear. Fear is. Fear is fear. Mountain is mountain, valley is valley, stream is stream. Fear is fear. Not to sound like a dork, but if you sit by a stream, in listening to the stream, can you become the stream? I know that just sounds like a dumb, dorky line from a martial arts movie. I know. But you see, it comes from a place. Anyway. All I wanted to do was share that beautiful view. And here I am pontificating and, running my mouth. Which I never meant to do. I never thought anybody would be interested in actually listening to me think out loud and talk. But I guess as I started talking, I just kind of picked up where I left off last night in a way. So here the street lights are coming on, and I have been bitten at least 2 times. I didn't live stream this because I wanted the horizontal view. I don't know why YouTube can't have horizontal view live streaming. It would be much better. But then again, if I'd been distracted by people making comments, then this video would never it just wouldn't have happened the way it did. So there's more forest over there. Keeps going that way until it reaches my place. Yeah, now the apartment buildings begin. So, and I'm tired of holding this phone up. So I'm tired of talking. I'm tired of myself. Tired of my thoughts. So I'm just gonna hit the stop button. I'm gonna watch them. Maybe they'll just fizzle out and I can have a few moments of peace before I get home. And the long-suffering missus is there with more things to think about. You know how that works, right? Okay. Lean Bear from lovely scenic Paju City, South Korea. Did you think I was kidding when I said it's lovely and scenic? Most people think it's nothing special, but Paju's pretty nice, man. I hope somebody out there gets something out of this. And I'll probably do another live stream tonight. And see you then, maybe. God bless and keep you, no matter where you are or what you may be doing. Am I looking at the camera now? Am I looking at you? Okay. No matter where you are or whatever you may be doing, within reason, of course. Have some common sense, for crying out loud. Right? Okay. Over and out.